Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and so far we have discussed various pastimes. And in last class we discussed how Krishna he saved Nand Maharaj from Varuna Dev, the servant of Varuna Dev. He arrested Nand Maharaj, and how Krishna saved Nand Maharaj. And when Nand Maharaj he came back, he told all the cowherd men how Krishna was worshipped by Varuna Dev, and everybody started thinking, oh, it seems that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead. And they started thinking, oh, will we get liberation? And Krishna understood these thoughts, and Krishna showed all the Brajvasis Brahman and Vaikuntha, and then they realized that they were not able to relate with Krishna even in the Vaikuntha feature. And then Krishna brought all of them back to Vrindavan, Goloka, home Vrindavan, and then they were all satisfied. So that was the end of the last chapter, 28th chapter, and now in the 29th chapter, which is beginning of the Ras Panchadhyay, which is entitled Krishna and the Gopis Meet for the Ras Dance. So Shukdev Goswami, he continues, Bhagwan apita ratri sharadotphulla mallikaah viksharantum manaschakre yogamayam sama upashitaah. So now Shukdev Goswami he begins the conversation by telling that when Krishna he saw that the Sharad season had come. So on that Sharad season, he desired to increase his loving pastimes with all the gopis. So Yoga Maya Upashita. So he employed his internal potency. So this is very, very important. So in the beginning section of this chapter, very elaborately, the purport describes the spiritual nature of all these pastimes. And then Parikshit Maharaj himself asks this question, and we'll see what question he asked. So we have to understand that when Krishna he performs all these pastimes, there is no material lust which is involved. Because Krishna he is Satchidanand Vigraha, Purna Purushottam, Shadaishwarya Purna Bhagavan. There is nothing material in his existence. He's all spiritual. So if he's all spiritual, then how can a mundane material lust appear in his consciousness? We have heard in the first canto how when Krishna he enters the Dwarka, all the queens who were themselves goddesses of fortune, they tried to attract Krishna by their loving glances. But Krishna, he was not disturbed. Uddama bhava pishunam laval guhasa vriravaloka nihato madanopiyasam sammohya chapamavajahat pramadottamasta yasya indriyai vimatitum kuhakairna shekuh. So this verse describes that all the queens with their loving gestures, with their glances, they were trying to attract Krishna. Valguhasa, with their beautiful smiles, they were trying to attract Krishna's attention. But Sammuhya Chapam Ajahat Pramadottamasta. Cupid could not do anything in that presence. Any affair between a male and a female in this world happens under the influence of Cupid, Kamadev. But Cupid, he understood that there is no presence of mine here. This affair, this interaction which is going on between Krishna and all these queens, it is free from material kama. He, in frustration, he gave up his vow. Sammuhya chapa majahat. Pramadottamasta. Although the queens, they were the best of the ladies. Yasya indriyai vimatitum kuhakair nasheku. They were not able to disturb the senses of Krishna. And then Shukdev Goswami, Asuta Goswami describes there, Etadishanamishasya prakritistopi tadgunaihi nayujyate sadatmasthir tadha buddhi sadashraya. Just like Krishna is free from anything material, no material lust can affect Krishna because Krishna is spiritual. Similarly, the devotees of the Lord, they are also free from the material lust. So therefore, Krishna has no material desires, and people in this world, they think, oh, all these affairs between Krishna and gopis, they cannot be spiritual. They have to be, ordinary romance, and then they reject it out of envy. So in the purport, it is described very nicely that the conjugal love which is experienced by humans is just a reflection of the spiritual love which is experienced by Krishna and the gopis. Because in the material world, everything is a reflection of the spiritual world, as Bhagavad Gita says, Urdhvam Moolam Adhashakham Ashwatham Prahuravyayam. The roots are above and the uppermost part is below. That which is the highest in the spiritual world is the lowest in the material world. So all these pastimes, dancing with other men's wife, it may be very low, abominable thing in the material world. But with our material mindset, we cannot understand the supreme position of these pastimes. Generally, people in the world, they pray to God and they want God to be the witness of their romantic pastimes. They pray to God, oh God, a girl desires a boy and a boy desires a girl, and they pray, oh God, please do the arrangements. But they cannot accept that God can also engage in all these conjugal pastimes. That is inconceivable, you know. And therefore, people sometimes they are shocked, sometimes they are, dismayed to find that, oh, such descriptions are given in the scriptures. So Shukdev Goswami continues that on the Sharad Purnima day, on the Sharad Purnima, the Ratri, the night of the Sharad Purnima, the moon rose in the eastern horizon and it had a reddish hue. And because of this reddish hue, it was looking very, very beautiful. And anybody who sees this Sharad Purnima Chandra, it is very, very pleasing, most beautiful moon of the year. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that Krishna is thinking that generally, in a loving affair between a male and female of this world, you know, a male is usually a very proud and women are reserved. But Krishna was thinking, I will display the opposite characters. I will become reserved. I will not go directly. I will call them. So Krishna, he saw this moon and he was attracted. This moon was glowing like the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. And under the influence of this Sharad Purnima, the moon of Sharad Purnima, the lotuses were blooming. The Kumuda lotuses, which generally blow in the night. And Krishna, he started playing his flute to attract the minds of all the gopis. So Krishna, he appeared in Chandra Vamsha, and Chandra, he was assisting Krishna in all these wonderful pastimes. So therefore, when Krishna he started playing his flute, all the gopis, they became overwhelmed. When the gopis they heard the flute sound, their minds were captivated, their hearts were completely overwhelmed with love and affection for Krishna, and they started going very fast to meet Krishna. So it is described that when Krishna blows his flute, it is so very attractive and enchanting that nobody can resist. In the later, this verse will come. Kastriyang te kalpadayat venu gita sammohitare charitam na chale trilokyam trailokya saubhagamidam nanirikshya rupam yad dvija mriga pulakanya bibhran. So gopis, they are telling to Krishna in the later verse that who is that woman in this world who will maintain the sanity of her mind after hearing your flute, O Krishna? What to speak of us? You cannot blame us, because even animals, even plants, yad go dvija druma mrigaha pulakani abhibran, they also become stunned. So it is not our fault. So gopis, they just went towards Krishna as if pulled by the strings of the song of the flute. They were like the puppets, and they were being pulled by the string of the song of the flute, and it increased their love for Krishna. That is the beauty of Krishna's flute. कानेर भीतर वास करे अपने तहाँ सदा स्फुरे अन्य शब्द ना दे प्रवेशिते आन कथा न सुने कान आन बोलिते बोलाए आन ei Krishner Vamshira Charite. When the sound of Krishna's flute enters the ears of the gopis, they completely become mesmerized. They cannot hear anything else. They cannot speak anything else. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that, actually Krishna, he sent a thief in the form of the song of the flute. So this thief entered the ears, innocent ears of the gopis, and stole the mind and the heart of the gopis. So the gopis, they were helplessly running behind to gain their lost wealth. You know. But this thief did not regard anything external. So the thief, the song of the flute, did not steal any external ornaments, but stole the heart of the gopis. So therefore, it is very, very important that, just like gopis, when they heard the flute of Krishna, they made a decision that now we have to go towards Krishna, go to meet Krishna, go to please Krishna. So in our Krishna consciousness, we have to take individual decisions. It is said that none of the gopis, they realized that other gopis are also going. They made individual decisions to go towards Krishna. None of the other gopis, they were knowing that, oh, they are also going. So therefore, we have to make individual decisions to go towards Krishna. Krishna is playing flute for every one of us. He keeps sending his devotees, he keeps sending Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, holy names, deities, prasad. He keeps calling all the living entities. And it is our responsibility to respond to the calls of Krishna. Because in the ultimate end, we have to do this journey alone. At the time of death, nobody will come to take us back to spiritual world. They all will be there. All devotees will be there chanting, doing kirtan, but we will have to take the individual decision to choose Krishna. Just like all these gopis, they chose Krishna individually. They all took individual decision to go and meet Krishna. None of them they planned, okay, tomorrow we'll be going to meet Krishna and all of us will go together. Association is required, right? They were associating with each other regularly, but this point of time when Krishna was actually calling them, they individually decided that now we have to leave everything and surrender to Krishna. Leaving their home was not an easy thing. What all these gopis they left? They left all their household affairs and they ran to attend Krishna's flute. They ran to serve Krishna, they ran to meet Krishna. So therefore, as we have embarked on this journey of spiritual life, we have to, you know, make our individual decisions to go and advance in Krishna consciousness. This is a decision we have to make and we have to actually do it. Nobody else is going to chant for us. Nobody else is going to, hear Bhagavatam for us. Everybody is individual. All the devotional uh, practices which are there, we have to do individually. And in every devotional practice, we have to make individual decision to surrender to Krishna. That is what all these gopis they are showing. Individually they went, left everything. Some of the gopis they were milking cows. They left that place only. Some devotees were, some gopis were taking care of the babies. Some were serving their husbands. They stopped serving. They went. Some were taking care of the small calves. They left immediately. For some gopis they were cooking. They left that cooking in between. They left and they went to meet Krishna. They ran. So ultimately, we have to keep Krishna as the ultimate priority in our life. At some point of time, we have to decide that now I want to give myself completely in the service of Krishna. Otherwise, when we hear about the gopis, they are the prime examples. They are the foremost of the devotees, and they are showing by their personal behavior, personal example, at least what we should think, what should be our thought process. And Krishna, just like Krishna is testing all these gopis in the middle of the night, he's playing his flute. None of the gopis complained to Krishna, Krishna kya hai? रात को 12 बजे flute बजाना था आपको. You had to play in the middle of the night. What you could have played earlier, right? Krishna will keep testing all of us, our determination, our dedication, our surrender. It will be tested at every point now and then, because Krishna wants to see, okay, now this devotee has, how much he has advanced. Some of the gopis they were getting dressed. Some of them they were feeding milk to their infants. Some were taking care of their husbands. Some were, you know, uh, putting cosmetics, decorating themselves. Some were, putting their clothes. Whatever they were doing, they just stopped all these activities and they ran to meet Krishna. Some gopis in the hurry, they put the upper garments on the lower part, lower on the upper. They put ornaments on the one side, they forgot to put on the other side. They put kajal on one side, forgot on the other side. This is very, very astonishing. None of the ladies of this world will do that. None of the ladies will leave the decorations in the middle if the husband is calling. You know. So that shows the dedication of gopis. They were not thinking anything about themselves. They were thinking only Krishna's pleasure and satisfaction. This is the foundation on which we have to hear all these pastimes. There is no mundane lust. आत्मेन्द्रिय प्रीति वांछा तारे बोली काम, कृष्णेन्द्रिय प्रीति इच्छा धरे प्रेम नाम. In this world, everyone wants to satisfy his or her own senses. And for that, they can do anything and everything. But gopis, they represent the highest love, prema, satisfying the senses of Krishna. And for that, they are ready to do anything and everything. Ultimate surrender of the gopis is described here. तावार्यमान पतिभिः पितृभिर्भ्रातृबन्धुभिः गोविन्द अपहृतात्मानो न निवर्तन्त मोहिताः. So naturally, when these gopis, they were leaving their houses, their husbands, fathers, brothers, their relatives, they stopped them. But Govinda aparita atmanaha, because Krishna had stolen their hearts. Na nevartanta mohitaha. They were completely enchanted by the flute of Krishna, so nobody could stop them. That is what we have to understand is surrender. Govinda aparita atmanaha. When the mind is absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna, none of the material distractions can allure us away from the path of Krishna consciousness. When the mind is focused on Krishna's service, then we will not get attracted by anything of this world, either things or people. As Narada describes in the first canto, he was so very absorbed in hearing about Krishna from all the Bhaktivedantists. Very easily he gave up all the material desires and he developed such wonderful ecstasies. तत्रान्वहं कृष्ण कथा प्रगायताम् अनुग्रहेण शृण्वन् मनोहराः ता श्रद्धया मे अनुपदं विशृण्वतः प्रिय श्रवस्यङ्गममाभवद्रुचिः. So Narad Muni is telling, as a small boy, he had such intense affection and attraction for Krishna's pastimes. Anugraha, by the mercy of these devotees, they were speaking to the small boy also. And he was completely focused attention. With focused attention, he was hearing. Vishrinavataha. Mind was completely absorbed. So it is described that if we want to develop the taste and attraction for Krishna consciousness, we have to hear attentively. We have to hear with all our attention, with all our, you know, uh, whatever desires we have in our mind, we have to serve Krishna. And therefore, we should not get distracted from this goal. Vishrinuvataha, just like gopis, they were Govinda apaharita atmanaha. Their minds were stolen by Krishna. So therefore they could not stop. Nobody could stop them. Same as Brahman Patnis. Their husbands, brothers, all the relatives, they also stopped them. But Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Dirgha Shruta Dhritashayaha. They had heard about Krishna for a long, long time. So therefore they could not be stopped. Chakravarti Thakur writes that Parikshit Maharaj may ask, how could the husbands tolerate, letting their wives go elsewhere? They must be concerned about their protection also, right? Because they are running towards forest. So, Shukadeva Goswami says, yes, that is true, but Yogamaya allowed this to happen. Actually what happened was, when these husbands, they stopped their wives, Yogamaya created identical bodies. And those bodies, they went back in their homes and original gopis left for the forest. So that is the very, very important detail, that all these gopis, They went to the forest in their spiritual form. All their material desires were vanquished, and Yogamaya created another body. They returned back. So it is described that some of the gopis could not manage to go out because they were stopped by their husbands. So these gopis, they closed their eyes and they meditated on the Supreme Lord. So it is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, some classification and categorization of the gopis who were there in Ras Leela. So he says there were two types of gopis, Nitya Siddha gopis and Sadhana Siddha gopis. There are millions of gopis in Vrindavan. Some were Nitya Siddha, eternal associates of Krishna, who came directly from the spiritual world, and some were Sadhana Siddha. In the Sadhana Siddha, again, there are two categories. There are few special groups who became gopis, and others who are not in any special group, they also became the Sadhana Siddha. So he mentions two special groups of the devotees who became gopis. One is Rishichari gopis and other is Shruti-chari gopis. So Vedas, they are called Shrutis. They also wanted to take part in Ras Leela. And Krishna, he bestowed his mercy, and they also became sadhana siddha gopis. By their intense practice of devotional service, they also attained this position. And we also know that there were some sages in Dandakaranya forest when Lord Ram, he was there in Vanvas. So all these sages, they developed conjugal sentiments for Lord Ram. So Lord Ram said, look, it is not possible. There are two reasons. First, I have taken a vow to be Ek Patni Vrata. Ek Patni, I'll only marry one wife. And I have already married Sita. So I cannot accept all of you. And secondly, you are in male bodies. So how can I accept you? So in future, in the next incarnation, when I am coming, in that incarnation, I'll accept every one of you. So these sages, they became the gopis. They are called Muni Chari or Rishi Chari gopis. So the gopis who could not go in this Ras Leela, they there are two categories of gopis. One were physically away, and secondly, they were in meditation on Krishna always. So although they were physically away, they were in separation, but in meditation they were one with Krishna, they were in union with Krishna. And because of the separation, they were feeling intense agony, but because of the union in their minds, they were experiencing intense happiness. So, because of these two emotions, the agony destroyed their sense and their happiness destroyed their piety. These two things are obstacles to advance in the path of Krishna consciousness. Our sense and our piety both. That's why it is described by uh, Narad Muni to Prahlad. Bhogen punyam, sorry, Narsimdev tells Prahlad, Bhogen punyam kushalen papam. You destroy your wealth, destroy your sin by acting in a righteous way, and you destroy your piety by enjoyment. So these gopis who could not go, they meditated with their eyes closed on Krishna. What was the result of that meditation? दुस्सह प्रेष्ठ विरह तीव्र तापधुता शुभा ध्यान प्राप्ताच्युत श्लेष निर्वृत्या शीन मंगला. It's a very important word Shukdev Goswami is telling. Dussah preshta viraha. The viraha, the separation from the dearmost beloved Krishna, it was intolerable. Dussah preshta viraha. And because they were constantly meditating on Krishna, Tivra, tap dhuta shubha. This intense heat of separation, they burnt away all their impious karma. Whatever little impurity was remaining, it was purified. Dhyana prapta chuta shlesha. And then, by meditating on Krishna, they developed a feeling of Krishna's embrace. And therefore, by that embrace, they were so very happy. They exhausted all their material piety. Sheen Mangala. Punya also got destroyed and Papa also got destroyed. So therefore, it is very important then when we take shelter of Krishna, when we take intense shelter, chant our rounds properly, when we hear attentively in a prayerful mood, very focused, these two things happen. Tivra tap dhuta ashubha. Because it happens many times because we are so very troubled with our anarthas. In that situation, we are eagerly, we are intensely praying to Krishna, oh Krishna, please purify me. That eagerness, that intensity purifies the heart. Tivra tapa dhuta shubha. That brings us much close to Krishna. Maya Devi, Durga Devi, she keeps testing all our desires. She keeps showing us our sinful mentality, our anarthas, so that we can constantly pray to Krishna. Oh Krishna, please take me out of these anarthas. They are troubling me. I want to come close to you, but these anarthas, they are not allowing me to come close to you. That is a very, very conducive situation when we are helplessly taking shelter of Krishna. That is a very conducive situation to advance in spiritual life. Tivra tapa dhuta shubha. So therefore, it is our responsibility that we have to take shelter of holy names, take shelter of Bhagavatam, take shelter of devotees, deities, with all our hearts. Tamev paramatmanam jar buddhyapi sangataha jahur gunmayam deham sadhya prakshina bandhanaha. Again, very important verse, Shukdev Goswami saying. Tameva Paramatmana. Although Krishna is a supreme personality, he is a supreme Lord, but Jar Buddhyapi Sangata. All these gopis, all these girls, they simply thought of him as their lover. Jar Buddhya, as their lover, as their male lover. They associated with them in that mood. Just by associating with Krishna in that mood also, they were so very eager. Jahu Gunmayam Deham, they gave up their material bodies. They abandoned their material, gross material bodies. Sadhya Prakshina Bandhana, became free from all the attachments. All their karmic bondage was nullified. So, therefore, it is very interesting, very important that even if somebody thinks Krishna as a lover, it is described that it is superior to thinking of Lord as husband. So Parakiya Bhav is higher than Swakiya Bhav. That is what is described. But it is very important what it means when Shukdev Goswami is saying they gave up their material bodies. Actually, these bodies, everyone has a material body and some spiritual sentiments, spiritual consciousness and material consciousness. So it is described by acharyas that when the gopis they heard the flute sound, their bodies, which were twofold, the material bodies and spiritual bodies, and when they could not go to meet Krishna, they gave up the material consciousness. So Jahu Gunmayam Deham means they gave up their material consciousness. Just like Dhruv Maharaj, when he perfected his life at the end, he went in the self same body. You know, he did not give up his body. His body got transformed into spiritual body. He did not have to give up his body. Similarly, all these gopis, their bodies transformed into spiritual bodies. So therefore it is very, very important that when devotees, we begin prosecuting this process of Krishna consciousness by hearing, by chanting, we engage our ears, when we engage our senses in pure devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, all these things, if we are doing attentively, regularly, then slowly what is happening? Devotee, they, Devotees, they transcend their material bodies. There are three types of devotees who are liberated souls. They are Gunatita, and they are uh, Nitya Siddha and Gunatita. They are liberated, and they are transcendental to the three modes also. And there are some, they are not Gunatit, but they are just waiting to get liberated. They are also pure because in due course of time they will get purified. So this process of Krishna consciousness slowly purifies our material minds. Slowly one becomes detached from the three modes of material nature. So gopis who could not go to meet Krishna, in the fire of separation, they burned their material bodies, and only the spiritual bodies remained. So we should not make a mistake of telling, oh, gopis, they died. Those gopis who could not go in the separation of Krishna, they died. No, no, no. They didn't die. They gave up their material consciousness. An example is given. Just like when now the mango season is going on. So when somebody gets mangoes from the market, few mangoes are very ripened and they can be offered to Krishna. Some other mangoes, they are not yet ripened. So the person who is offering the mangoes, he will choose the ripened mangoes and he'll offer to Krishna. And the other mangoes who are not yet ripened, because of continuously staying with the other mangoes and by the special process of application of the heat, they also become ripened. So therefore Yog Maya, who is the organizer of all these pastimes, she thought, okay, these gopis, they are pure, so let them go to meet Krishna. But these gopis, they are not pure. They have some contaminations remaining. So let them stay, and because of the intense heat of separation from Krishna, they will get purified. And then I'll send them some other day to meet Krishna, other night, you know. So that's how all these gopis who could not go, they were just burning in the fire of separation which was purifying them. So therefore, the more we are eager and hankering to get purified, the more we take shelter of Krishna by remembering, by chanting attentively, by reading Bhagavatam in right consciousness, the heat of separation from Krishna, the intense desire to please Krishna, attract Krishna's attention, purifies the consciousness of a devotee. So then, Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard all this, he got a doubt. He said, "Oh Shukdev Goswami, gopis, they knew Krishna as their lover. They did not accept Krishna as supreme Lord. How these girls who are apparently caught up in the modes of material nature, because they were looking at Krishna as their lover. It is a material emotion, right? How they developed such material detachment? How they could leave everything? How they could attain perfection? Krishnam vidu param kantam na tu brahmataya mune guna pravaho paramastasam gunadhiya katham. How they became free from material attachment? So why Parikshit Maharaj is asking this question? Because Parikshit Maharaj noticed that as Shukdev Goswami began the pastimes of Rasa Leela, there were some kings they and some sages, they were not materially pure. They had some material uh, doubts, material consciousness they had. They started thinking like this: why these gopis who were behaving like ordinary lovers of this world, how could they attain perfection? Parikshit Maharaj thoroughly knew the purport of Shukdev Goswami's statement, but he asked this question for the welfare of everyone. So therefore, Jiva Goswami says that Parikshit Maharaj is called Raja. Raja means one who can perceive everyone's sentiments also. So Parikshit Maharaj could understand, oh, all these people, there was few people, few sages who are material, having material mindset. So to clarify their doubt, Parikshit Maharaj is asking this. So now, Shukdev Goswami also knows that, oh, Parikshit Maharaj, why is asking? But he made a pretense of scolding uh, Parikshit Maharaj. He said, "Are you so foolish to ask this question? I had told you this earlier also. पहले बताया था ना, भूल गए क्या?" He said, "Uktam purastade tatte chaidyam siddhim yatagataha dushannapi rishikesham kim uta dhokshaja priyah." I had told you earlier in the seventh canto. I had explained you very nicely this. Chaidyam siddhim yathagataha. Shishupal, he hated Krishna. Dvisham api Rishikesham, he hated Krishna. Still he got liberation. Still he got delivered. He got Sayujya Mukti. Are if Shishupal got liberation, although he hated Krishna, then what to speak of these gopis? They are dear devotees of the Lord. Why they will not get liberation? What is the doubt? So in the seventh canto also, Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami had said, गोप्यः कामाद् भयात् कंसो द्वेष्याश्चैद्यादयो नृपाः सम्बन्धाद् वृष्णयः स्नेहाद् यूयं भक्त्या वयं विभो. So there, Shukdev Goswami has said, the gopis, they attained Krishna because of their lusty desires. Kamsa attained Krishna by the fear. Shishupal by envy. All the Yadavas by their familial relation. O Yudhishthir Maharaj, you all Pandavas attained Krishna by having great affection for Krishna. And we insignificant devotees, Narad Muni is telling himself as insignificant devotees, we also attained Krishna by the process of bhakti. So Shukdev Goswami is telling, I told you earlier, you forgot. So actually, in the purport, the disciples of Prabhupada, they write very wonderful descriptions, quoting from various verses, how this affair which is happening between Krishna and the gopis, there is nothing material in that. So one of the verses it is quoted that the Vedas they declare, without having spiritual knowledge, there is no valid path to liberation. So these gopis, although externally, apparently they were lusty, they possessed such wonderful knowledge and such wonderful devotion. That's why they could attain Krishna. Otherwise, by ordinary lust, one cannot attain Krishna. It is not possible to attain Krishna by just displaying ordinary lust. By lusting after God, one cannot attain God. You know, only by pure devotional service one can attain Krishna. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes that why Shukdev Goswami quoted this example of Shishupal and not the example of Aghasur. Aghasur pastime just happened, and he is quoting a pastime which happened much later. Why he is quoting pastime of Shishupal? So he says because Shishupal, he when he was his head was cut by Sudarshan Chakra. That chakra removed all the sins of Shishupal, destroyed the Gunamaya Deha of Shishupal. That's why he could attain the spiritual destination. He went back home to the spiritual world in his form as Jai Vijay. The gopis, just like the Sudarshan Chakra, by the fire of Sudarshan Chakra, this fire burnt all the material desires of Shishupal. Similarly, the fire of separation burnt all the material desires of the gopis who could not go. And then Sukdev Goswami continues. He says, Nirnam Nishreyasarthaya Vyaktir Bhagavato Nripa Avyayasya Pramayasya Nirgunasya Gunatmanah. He says, Supreme Lord, He appears in this world for the welfare of entire humanity. Nishreyasarthaya, for the welfare of entire human race, Krishna appears in this world. And who is Krishna? He is Avyaya and Aprameyasya. He is inexhaustible and immeasurable. Why Avyaya? Because although Krishna gives himself to his devotees, he is not exhausted. He is inexhaustible. And secondly, how he is inexhaustible? Because he is immeasurable, aprameyasya. So a person who is unlimited will never get exhausted. So Krishna is such a wonderful personality. He appears in this world to show mercy to everyone. And he orchestrates his pastimes in so many ways that anyone in any relation with any emotion can approach Krishna and get purified. Kamam krodham bhayam sneham aikyam sauridam evacha nityam harau vidadato yanti tanmayatam hite. Either out of lust, anger, fear, protective affection, any way you approach Krishna, even out of as a friend, as a Brahman, any way you approach Krishna, they will attain Krishna. So therefore it is very, very important. And Madhvacharya, and in the purport, very interestingly, very wonderfully, so many quotations are given. So Madhvacharya, he writes and he quotes from Skanda Puran. He says that one cannot get liberated if one has material mundane lust. A person who is liberated, for sure he has no material lust. The madhurya rasa is attained only by those people who are free from material lust. Otherwise, nobody can approach God just by ordinary lust. So therefore Shukdev Goswami says, O Parikshit, do not be astonished, because Krishna is the one who gives liberation. He can do anything. Don't be astonished by the activities of Krishna. After all, that's the purpose. That's the purpose of Lord's appearance. Lord appears in this world to bring all the conditioned souls back to the spiritual world. And any way you approach Krishna, you will get purified. And then Shukdev Goswami now continues. What happened then? So when all the gopis, they heard the flute of Krishna, they gave up all their duties. They ran and met Krishna. They went to the place where Krishna was playing the flute. And Krishna, he is described as the best of the speakers. When he saw these gopis, they have come. They greeted them with very sweet, charming words. But these words bewildered the minds of the gopis. First, He speaks very politely. Externally, he was completely indifferent. He wa- he called all these gopis, but externally he was completely indifferent. Swagatam vo mahabhaga priyam kim karvamana vrajasyanmayam chachit bruta agama karanam. Very indifferently he is asking, "Oh Swagatam, oh ladies, oh fortunate one, welcome. What can I do for you? Priyam kim karvam. What can I do to please you? You have come from Braja. Is everything well in Braja? Please tell me why you have arrived. Bruta Agaman Karanam. Please tell me why you have come." So, Jiva Goswami describes that, you know, Krishna is thinking that by serving these ladies, they were married. Many of the gopis, they were married. So, Krishna, he said that by treating you married women, according to the dharma, I will get pious credits. If I welcome you properly, I'll get pious credits. Actually, he did the same thing to the wives of Brahmanas also. He said the same thing. Swagatam vo mahabhaga asyatam karvamakim. Please sit. Please tell me what can I do for you. Same things he is telling to gopis also. So Krishna, he always tests the eagerness, tests the determination of his devotees. If the gopis are tested, if Mother Yashoda is tested in Damodar Leela, then for sure we will also be tested, so that Krishna understands, oh, now this devotee has advanced. Now I'll give him much more, or her a better test. Just like in ordinary school exam, after first class we go to second. So next class, second class examination is there. Second standard, third exam standard. Every standard you pass, the next standard exam is difficult. So the 10th standard student cannot complain, "Arey, first standard I was given such one simple easy question. Abhi itna hard kyun de rahe?" Because you have grown up. Similarly, the more we grow in our spiritual life, we should expect more and more difficult tests. We may think it is difficult, but from Krishna's perspective, he knows, "Arey, now he has grown up, so it'll be easy for him to pass." Krishna never tests a person beyond his capacity. So now Krishna is showing such indifference to these gopis. So Krishna is saying, he called them most fortunate, because he was thinking, oh, they are such fortunate ladies, they're depending on me alone. But externally, he is not showing that. He asked, "Is everything well in Braja?" So gopis, they may say, "Oh, lion of cleverness, you are speaking such clever words. If there were some problem in Braja, then why? Then the cowherd men would have come, right? We would not have come. Why are you asking such questions?" Krishna says, "Oh gopis, oh ladies, this night is very frightening. There are so very frightening creatures moving around in Vrindavan. Please return to Braja. Oh beautiful, slender waisted girls, please return to Braja. This is not a proper place for women." When gopis, they heard this, they were so very devastated. They said, "Oh, alas, alas, we gave up everything. We gave up our husbands, all our relations. We gave up our shame. We gave up our, all, connection with all our relatives. And we have come here. And just see, he's asking us why we have come. He, first of all, he called us by playing his flute, and now he's asking us why we have come." So gopis, they started looking at each other. What is happening? They were bewildered. So Krishna said, "Oh, it seems that you have come to collect the night blooming lotus flowers, right? So now I think you have seen, you can collect and you can go back." So you are looking at flowers. That means you have come to see the beauty of the forest. You have come to see the beauty of the flowers. So, and then he says, actually, even if you have come to collect the flowers, it is not the right time. Even though it is moonlight, but still there are very dangerous creatures. There are animals like tigers. And you are ladies, slender ladies. You should not have come here. The gopis may object. Let us just rest for a few minutes and then we'll go. Krishna says, no, 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 no. You are very beautiful ladies. You should not stay here for a moment, because women should not remain in a place which is full of all these fierce, dangerous creatures. Don't stay for a moment. And on top of that, you are beautiful also. You are beautiful ladies, and I am a beautiful, handsome young boy. So, although I am a brahmachari and you are all chaste ladies, but still you should never trust your mind. So, you go back immediately. Nobody should trust the mind. I should also not trust my mind. Go back immediately. So, all these things are, discussed there. Chakravarti Thakur gives another alternative explanation. He says, actually, what Krishna is saying, he's saying that, oh gopis, oh ladies, you should not at all be fearful seeing this night. Because in Vrindavan, all the creatures, they are friendly. There is no envy in any of the animals of Vrindavan. Even tiger has no envy. Yatra naisarga durvaira sahasan mrigadayah mitrani iva ajitavasa drutaruta tarshakadikam. It is described that in Vrindavan there is no envy. Even the tigers and the deers, they stayed together without any enmity. So Krishna is saying, oh gopis, there is no enemy, there is no fear from all these animals here. You stay here. And you should not be afraid of your husbands, you know. So don't worry, do not go back to Braja. Stay here with me. The gopis may ask, but how are you staying here? He says, I am staying alone, I am staying with women. So gopis may ask, oh, are you satisfied to keep any women in your company? Krishna may say, no, no, only beautiful women are allowed to stay with me. So all these things are discussions are going on. And then the ladies, they may ask, oh great lion among men, why we have to fear? Because we are close to you and you are so very strong. Why should we fear? So Krishna, uh, you know, uh, he's thinking, oh, gopis will speak all these words. So he says, oh ladies, please go back. Don't create anxiety for your fathers, for your brothers, for your husbands. They must be searching for you. Please go back. Now you have seen the beauty of Vrindavan. Now you have seen the beautiful moon of Vrindavan, beautiful Yamuna, and the breeze is blowing. You have experienced this forest enough. Now you please go back. Immediately you go back. Don't delay. Your relatives will be so very disturbed. So then Krishna says, oh, it seems I have made a mistake in understanding your intentions. Now I have understood why you have come. He says, perhaps you have come because you have great love for me. And therefore you have left everything and you have come to meet me. Because I am the dearmost possession of each and every living entity. Now Krishna is speaking actually the essence. He is the dearmost possession of each and every living entity. All of us, we are supposed to get attracted to Krishna. But because our mind, our consciousness is covered with all the materialistic desires of personally motivated interests, we are not able to please Krishna. We are not able to serve Krishna. Expecting the objection from the gopis may say, but we have approached you as lovers. Krishna says, no, 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 but still you should return to Braja. Even if you have approached me as lovers, still you should return to Praja. But the gopis may say, "Arey, again and again you are telling us to go back." But you should never reject the affection of a person who is showing their affection to you. You should not reject that affection. Krishna says, that is true. That is true. One should not reject the affection of the dear ones. But let me tell you one thing. I must speak to establish the religious principles. Therefore, I will advise you what scriptures say. Please listen carefully. Krishna says, the highest duty of a woman is to sincerely serve the husbands, take care of the family, take care of the children. That is the way to success. Please do not leave your husbands, go back. For you, serving your husband is your prime duty. So the gopis, when they hear, they may ask, but how can we serve our husbands? Are they are having no affection for you. They are unfavorable to our practice of Krishna consciousness. They are unsuitable for us. Krishna says, whoever they may be. Dushilo durbhago vriddho jadoro dhanopi va pati stribhirna hatavyo loke subirapataki. Even if the husband is obnoxious, unfortunate, old, uh, full of all the diseases, very sick, poor, even if he is not able to do anything, a lady who desires a better destination in the next life, she should not abandon her husband, whoever he may be. If he's living according to the principles of dharma, whoever he may be, he should not be given up. For a woman who is belonging to the respectable family, rejecting the husband is most condemned. Therefore, they will not get heaven. Gopis may say, we don't want heaven. We don't want Swargaloka. If you don't want Swargaloka, that's okay. But you will not get reputation in this world. Gopis may say, we don't fear any reputation, any infamy. We don't want any fame in this world. For gopis, Krishna may say, but such affairs, ordinary affairs, you are leaving your husbands and coming to meet a boy, they are insignificant. Gopis say, no, you are telling a lie. They are not insignificant. You are the Supreme Lord. Coming to you is a perfection of one's life. And therefore, you should not come here. So Gopis say, please don't tell us to go back. And they say, why are you having such thoughts? You are telling that we are acting in a irreligious way. We have not come here to have physical contact with you. According to Garga Acharya's word, we know that you are Narayan, and Lord Narayan is supposed to be worshipped and served. We have come to serve your lotus feet. So Krishna, expecting these words, he says, if you want to serve me, there are various ways to serve me. Shravanat darshanat dhyanan mai bhavanukirtanat na tatha sannikarshena pratiyata tato grihan. Krishna says, if you want to serve me, you cannot approach and attain me by physical proximity. Shravanat, by hearing; darshanat, by taking darshan of my deity; dhyanat, by remembering me; mai bhavanukirtanat, by always chanting my glories. You will attain me not by physical proximity. Don't think you can attain me by physical proximity. So Krishna says, pure devotees, they have no desire for samipya, salokya. They don't want anything. You know that. You are my pure devotees. Why do you want to stay with me? You know, you have heard all this. Still you want to stay with me? The gopis, So far, they were just silent, hearing all these words. Now, after hearing such unpleasant words from Krishna, gopis, they were so very frustrated. Their hopes were frustrated. They were in intense anxiety, in insurmountable anxiety. They become completely dejected. They started, you know, completely getting devastated. They started thinking, we left our husbands, fathers, brothers, and we came here. Now you have rejected us. What should we do now? Should we just catch your feet and cry, or what should we do? Should we follow what he's saying? They're thinking, should we follow what he's saying and go back to Braja, or should we give up our lives, or should we die in front or behind, away from him? What should we do? Should we go and drown in Yamuna? They are thinking all this. Or should we end up our lives? But if we end our lives, we'll not be able to see his face again, beautiful, sweet face. Or should we go back and, just like eating own vomit, should we serve our husbands again? All these thoughts were going on in the minds of the gopis. They put their head down and they started speaking. They said, Kritva mukhaanyavashucha swashanena shusyat bimbadharani charanena bhuva likhantyah अस्त्रैरुपात्यमसिभिः कुचकुङ्कुमानि तस्थुर्मृजन्त्य उरुदुःखभरास्मतूष्णीम्. They were completely silent. They could not speak anything. They put their head down with lamentation, in complete devastation, dejection. They put their head down. They were, because of the intense anxiety, they were breathing very heavily. And because of the heat of separation, their lips dried up. With their with their feet, with their toes, they were scratching the ground as if telling the Mother Earth, "Oh Mother Earth, please separate and allow us to enter you." And in this way, they were completely shattered. They were crying as they were crying. The kajal which was there in their eyes, they were, you know, getting washed off. And in this way, they were thinking, for the sake of Krishna, we abandoned everything. And now he's saying like this. So they started speaking. They said, "Oh Krishna, you are giving us all these instructions on religiosity, but actually you are committing a great sin. Maevam vibhorahati bhavan gaditam nisham santyajya sarva vishayam stava padamulam bhakta bhajasva duravagrahamate jasman devo yathadi purusho bhajate mumukshan." Oh Krishna, oh, you are so very powerful. How can you be so cruel to all of us? Santyajya, we have given up everything. We have given up all prospects of sense gratification. And we have come to render devotional service unto your lotus feet. So padamulam. Bhakta bhajasya duravagraha matyajasman. And therefore, O Krishna, we have come to render devotional service. How can you reject us? You are so very stubborn. How can you reject us? You are Narayan. You are like Narayan. Narayan never rejects his devotees. Whoever comes in shelter of Narayan, Narayan never rejects his devotees. How can you reject? We have come giving up everything and you are rejecting us. For you to utter all these cruel words, Chakravarti Thakur says, all these gopis, what they meant, it does not befit you. You are the son of Nand Maharaj. He is so very famous. He is glorious. If you reject us, we are millions of gopis, will all die. And you will get the sin of killing all these millions of women. We are like Chataka bird. We waited whole life just to have your association. But you are like that cloud who is showering poison, and we are dying drinking that poison. Krishna may say, but I didn't tell you to wait. I may be like a cloud, but I didn't tell you to wait. Why are you waiting for me? So it doesn't matter whether a Chataki dies or lives. I didn't tell all of you. Gopis say, that is true. You are not like a cloud, but you are like Narayan. Narayan never leaves his devotees. So you please don't leave us. They say, oh Krishna, you advised us in dharma and you told us that women should serve the husbands, serve the family members. But actually, this service is rightly done towards you because you are the supreme soul of everyone. You are the supreme Lord. You are the very self of every living entity. So, gopis, they are very much aware who is Krishna. It is not that they are sentimental devotees. No, they are topmost of the philosophers. But their knowledge of the supremacy, the Aishwarya of Krishna is completely covered by their love. So we can see in these verses, gopis are telling, you are the supreme object of affection. You are the super soul. You are the dearmost friend of all the embodied beings. So we should serve you. So therefore, why are you telling us to go away? And one other group of gopis, they said, you told us to serve our husbands and sons, right? But we have been always doing that. Krishna may say, how? You have left them and come here. They say, Arey, we are engaged in your service. You are our eternal husband. You are the husband of each and every living entity. So we have come to serve you. You are the best friend. Scriptures say that. You are the best friend of everyone. So, hearing this, the gopis, they may say, Arey, you may not want that to let the married gopis live. You have a problem with married gopis, right? But why are you making this unmarried gopis cry? These unmarried gopis, you only gave them the benediction when you stole their clothes. You gave them benediction, you will please them in future. You said I will enjoy with you in future. Why are you troubling them? Krishna may say, I can give mercy to them because of their vow. They worshipped me, they worshipped Katyayani. I have given my words, I will please them. Chalo. Well, why I should give mercy to you? So the gopis in the 33rd verse, they say, the transcendentalists, they always have affection for you. And you are the real beloved of everyone. So therefore, what is the use of serving family members? We should serve you. So please show us mercy also. Other gopis, they may say, Arey, anyone who develops love for Krishna, that person is most fortunate. Even if he approaches Krishna out of lust, that person will be purified of that lust. He will not be defeated by material sense gratification. Other gopis, they say, O king of the thieves, we have not come with any other purpose. We have come with just one purpose. You have stolen our hearts and the minds. We have come to get that again from you. So far, our minds were absorbed in household affairs. You played flute and you stole our minds. You stole our hands. We are not able to do anything. So that's why we have come here to reclaim our stolen property. It is your fault. You are the culprit because you stole our mind, you stole our hearts. Therefore, our feet cannot move even an inch because we are not going back without our hearts. And our feet will not move if heart is not there. So therefore the gopis, they say, oh Krishna, please show mercy on us. Otherwise, we'll leave our body in separation. You know, Krishna may say, "But why are you so very disturbed? Please go back. Go back. Sir, I will fulfill your desire sometime in the future." So Gopi say, "Arey, goddess of fortune, they have. She's so very eager to attain your lotus feet, and when she attained your lotus feet, she got satisfied. So why should we go anywhere else? We cannot leave your lotus feet." Goddess of Lakshmi, all the devatas are waiting for her favor, and she has given up her position, and she is residing on your chest as a Srivatsa. So therefore, and she is actually, competing with Tulasi to get the dust of your lotus feet. So we also desire the dust of your lotus feet. Please show mercy on us, make us your maid servants. Krishna may say, "You want to become my maid servants, right? But कुछ price pay करना पड़ेगा. Do I have to buy you, or you are giving me freely?" So gopis may say, "Arey, you have already bought us throughout our life from our young age. Just by your smiles, you have already purchased us. By your beautiful smiles, by your beautiful face, by your lips, by your glance, by your arms, by your powerful arms, chest, you have purchased us." Krishna may say, "But your husbands will complain to Kamsa. I'll be in trouble, you will be in trouble." Gopis may say, "Arey, you have such powerful arms, you lifted Govardhan. You will, defeat that Kamsa, that beast, very easily. You will kill that beast very easily. Don't worry." Krishna may say, "But I cannot make others' wives as maid servants." Gopis may say, "Arey, Lakshmi Devi has come from Vaikunta and you have accepted her on your chest. And you are telling that you will not accept us?" So all these thoughts are going on. And then Gopis say, "Arey, why are you criticizing us?" So uh, Krishna may say, "Why are you criticizing that chaste Lakshmi?" Gopis may say, "Arey, what to speak of Lakshmi? No woman in this world can control herself after hearing your flute. Kastriyang te kalpada yat venu gita sammohitare charitam na chale trilokyam त्रैलोक्य सौभगमिदं च निरीक्ष्य रूपं यद्गो द्विजद्रुममृगाः पुलकान्य बिभ्रन्." So gopis they say, "Are Kastri, who is that woman in the three worlds who will not deviate from his religious behavior after hearing your flute? Not only this world, all the women in three worlds, they are bewildered. Sammohitare charitam na chale trilokyam. Trilokya, तीनों लोकों की नारियां. Nobody can maintain the peace of her mind. You are the embodiment of auspiciousness. Just by looking at you is the festival for the eyes. Not only us, you don't blame us to become lusty hearing your flute. Even animate and inanimate beings, moving and non-moving beings, they become stunned. Even animals, they stop moving with their with their ears raised, they just hear the flute of the sound. All the birds, they become stunned, with their closed eyes they hear your flute. The trees, they stop moving. Mriga, all the deers, they become stunned. Everybody is manifesting the symptom of ecstasy just by hearing that flute sound. We are not blaming Lakshmi. It is your fault. Nobody is at fault apart from you. You are bewildering everyone. We are not. हमारी गलती नहीं है. You are playing your flute. This is not our fault. You are bewildering the whole world. All fault is yours only. You know. Nobody can say because by the natural lust we got attracted. No, just see what the moving and non-moving entities are doing. Then they say, oh Krishna, you have taken birth to relieve the distress of all the conditioned souls and all the friends of Braja. So please put your hand on our head and give your mercy. So when Krishna he heard such ardent, desperate prayers, despondent words, he became satisfied. And he said, oh women, every day we meet, right? And you show obstinacy. Today I had I have hidden my feelings and I have shown obstinacy. So therefore I did all this. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur quotes from Krama Deepika. It says that gopis, they were millions in numbers. How is it possible for Krishna to enjoy with all of them in one day? All of them. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur said, what is difficulty for Krishna? Yogis like Shobari, he could expand in many forms. So Krishna is Yogeshwareshwara. He is the Ishwara of the Yogeshwaras. So what is difficult for him? In Dwarka, he did not have to expand in his self, all the eternal expansions. He was there with every wife. So it is not difficult for Krishna to, enjoy with all these gopis. So therefore, Krishna, he started dancing and enjoying with the gopis. He was looking like the moon surrounded by various stars. All the gopis were singing, and Krishna was also responding very loudly. In this way, Krishna, he went to the banks of Yamuna and he was enjoying with the gopis. But when the gopis they saw that, oh, Krishna is just with me, they became proud and they considered, oh, I'm just see, we are the best of the women. That's why Krishna is with us. Krishna could sense this pride and he disappeared from that place. Very interesting. Krishna, he sensed that, oh, these gopis, they are becoming proud. Okay, no problem. I will show special mercy to them, and he disappeared. This is very, very, uh, you know, important, instructive. Whenever we become advanced in devotional service, and we started getting lots of skills, recognition, position, if we become proud of whatever we have achieved, Krishna will disappear. We will lose our desire to serve Krishna because Krishna will disappear. The more we get proud, the more we go away from spiritual life. So Krishna, although he is enacting these pastimes to increase the feelings of separation of the gopis, but we have to understand that if we are proud of our advancement in Krishna consciousness, our skills, our capabilities, just see how wonderfully I can speak or sing or manage or cook or whatever we are good at. Krishna does not like it. And Krishna will disappear, will be absorbed in our ego, and will slowly fall down from our position in Krishna consciousness. Chakravarti Thakur gives another esoteric explanation. He says, Lord Keshava, when he saw the gopis became proud, he says, Krishna, when he started dancing with all the gopis, there were few gopis who were not so very uh, prime gopis. They also saw, wow, Krishna is dancing with us. They became proud. And Radharani, she became angry. Why Krishna is dancing with others? Although this is a transcendental anger. So Krishna, just to remove the anger of Srimati Radharani and to destroy the pride of other gopis, he left all the other gopis and he disappeared along with Srimati Radharani. So that is the end of this chapter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. I think there are some questions. Yeah. So gopis, they abandoned their gross material body, means they abandoned their material consciousness. By the intense feelings of separation, they became spiritualized in their consciousness. Their bodies became spiritual. That means they had no material consciousness. Just like Dhruv Maharaj, he didn't have to give up his body. His body became spiritual, got transformed into spiritual body. Yeah, the mango example. Yes. Just like these gopis, because they were in intense separation from Krishna, they got purified. Just like if we get some mangoes from the market, some are ripe, some are unripe. So ripe can be offered, but if the unripe mangoes are kept and a special heating process is applied, then those unripe mangoes will also become ripe, and in due course of time, in 2-3 days, they can also be offered. So Yogamaya, she was thinking, oh, these gopis, they are not purified completely. So let them stay for some more time. They will get purified. They'll get mature, pag jayenge, and then I'll send them to be with Krishna at some other night, to dance and to enjoy, give pleasure to Krishna. Okay. Any other questions anybody has? How do we understand destroy piety? Yeah. So because the piety is also an obstacle on the path of spiritual life, either pap or punya, both are obstacles. If we have piety, we'll have to take birth to enjoy that piety. If we have sin, if we have performed some sinful activity, we have to take birth to uh, suffer the reaction. So, how to destroy piety? Whatever is coming according to its own accord, just accept it, but our motivation should be, I want to uh, accept this so that I can serve Krishna better. you know that's how we destroy piety, not that because I want to enjoy. No, the ultimate goal should be the pleasure of Krishna. That is the consciousness of a devotee. I'm enjoying my wealth so that I can serve Krishna better. A king may be enjoying his opulence, but Yudhishthir Maharaj, just like a great king he was, he had all the wealth at his disposal. Kimte kama surasparha mukunda manaso dvija adujahru mudam ragya shuditasya thetare kamam vavarsha parjanya sarva kama dugamahi. He was so very opulent, but Krishna padanu sevaya, he was always thinking of how to serve Krishna better. He was using his opulence, he was enjoying his opulence, but his enjoyment was for the service of Krishna. Because as a king, you have to be in a royal position, you have to wear royal robes, you cannot live like a beggar, you have to have the royal paraphernalia. That is an enjoyment. But why I am doing that enjoyment? So that I can make the kingdom also Krishna conscious. That is called destroying the piety. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai.